Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Naked Truth. Trisha Hershberger here. Before we jump into this week's topic, I want to thank our Naked Army vloggers from last week. That's... Excuse me. Hey guys, what's going on? Trisha Hershberger here. Before we jump into this week's topic, I want to thank our Naked Army vloggers from last week who submitted their own very courageous vlogs talking about medical issues that they've had to go through. If you are in the same position as me and you're struggling with something like that right now, you might want to give these a watch. They're linked in the description below. That's Chris Cavaja, El Pollo, Jeremy, Colin, Nicholas, Prescott, and Kristen, James, and Ryan. And I want to give an extra special shout out to Shannon, one of our community here, who sent me this awesome DC surgical hat. She's a nurse, and she sent this to me so I can let my nerd flag fly when I get my surgery, which I did get my test results from the biopsy, and I will need the big surgery. So I don't really know, exactly what that entails in the future, but it probably will take me out of commission for a while, and, it's not something I'm excited about, but I will let you guys know as I get more details about that. But Shannon, thank you so much. I saw this and I almost started crying. So thank you. Whew. Okay. On to this week's topic. Now we're talking about something that's very fun and very different from last week. We are talking about Game of Thrones. Season 6 of the show just ended and it was fantastic. I hope you guys, if you did get a chance to watch, great. If you're not a Game of Thrones person and you haven't seen any of them yet, don't fear. This vlog will not have any spoilers in it. I'm going to be very, very careful to make this okay for people who are brand new to the books or the series, as well as people who are seasoned and fully caught up and watch all the discussion shows and, super nerd out about it like me. So, okay, this was a topic submitted by Gizmo2703, who said, Game of Thrones, talk about what you loved, didn't love, what you hope for next year, stuff like that. So I just kind of wanted to talk about, obviously I'm a big fan of the series. You guys can see my Game of Thrones dragon right back here. I've read all the books. I have all the books. I have a bunch of Funkos, which you've probably seen featured in my Instagram and Snapchat stuff. I have, of course, a Hand of the King pin because duh. Or maybe I'll say Hand of the Queen pin now, just to be gender friendly. No spoiler, no spoiler. But yeah, so I'm a huge fan of the series. I've loved it for a long time, since way before there was a show. Although I started reading the books, kind of stopped reading the books, and then I heard there was going to be a show, and was like, no, I have to finish reading the books, because I like to be that, book know-it-all that knows everything. And I've been very fortunate in my time that I've been able to, in what I do for my career and for my living, been able to talk about the show now that the series has increased the recognition of the property so much on SourceFed Nerds TV show, on Screen Junkies Watching Thrones show, and I've been able to talk about it, and that's super awesome. I've actually had the opportunity to meet George R. R. Martin several times, the first time at San Diego Comic-Con when I was cosplayed as Daenerys, so that was a very cool moment. And I do magician's assistant work part-time, which some of you know, some of you may be like, what? I'll do a Naked Truth on it at some point. I keep trying to get the magician I work for to come on the Naked Truth, but she's a little hesitant. But anyway, we've done magic shows at George's Theater in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and so I've had the opportunity to go out to dinner with him several times after those shows, and it's a property and a world that I am a super huge fan of in general. So things that I love about the property, I love how unexpected it is. I love how it does the things that you think, there's no way this book is going to do that, or there's no way this story is going to do that, or the show. It definitely does. And it makes you laugh at times. It makes you cry at times. It makes you really angry at times. It makes you really think at times. And I think that for me, that's what escapism and fantasy is all about. I love that it shows us that war is futile, which is a big thing that George has said that, he's writing these books for. It's a big message in these books, because I love that in this series, it's not just the good guys versus the bad guys. It's people we're rooting for on all sides, and we're not rooting for them necessarily because they're good guys, which makes you then question yourself. And these are just things that are awesome. And things that I love about the show in particular is it takes a lot of that fantasy literature that's a little bit harder to drudge through, which if any of you read fantasy literature, there are always those parts that you kind of get through the slower, more detailed parts to get to the really exciting parts. The show does a really good job of giving you the information you need, but kind of, it's the abridged version. It just does the really exciting parts. Although there are really exciting parts that I think that the book does a lot better. And one of these days I'm going to put out a list of, like, for the show readers, here's the chapters of the book I would like you to go back and read because they're told so well in the book. I will put out that list at some point. It's on my list of things to do. I love that the show is done so very well. It's so cinematic. Everything from the way it's shot to the way it's scored to, the battle scenes. It's just a really fantastic show. HBO, thumbs up. And, I think a lot of people, when they're adapting something from a book to a show, are like, it's not going to be as good as the book. But this is a show that I like to think of it as something separate from the book. It's two different ways to consume this world and this story, and I'm incredibly thankful for both of them. So things that I'm looking forward to coming out of Winds of Winter, the next book, is I hope that the storyline is different enough from the show, now that the show has surpassed the book, that we get new surprises. It's still the same story and the same characters we love, but told in a different way and maybe getting places in a different way. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Georgia's writing voice. I want to hear some more of that. So please, Winds of Winter, soon, please. Things that I'm looking forward to from the show, without giving any spoilers, I'm looking forward to more of that brilliantly shot stuff that we've seen before, more surprises, more follow through on the characters that we've invested in. And whether that follow through is more like Marjorie Tyrell or more like Cersei Lannister or more like Tommen or, whatever that follow through is to the end of that character's journey, which I don't even know if that is the end of half those characters' journey, but the end of those characters' journey, I want to see it. I want to see it happen. I don't just want to see characters fade into oblivion and never find out what happens to them. And I think that both properties are doing a good job of that right now. So my question to you guys is, what do you love or not love about Game of Thrones? Or if Game of Thrones is not so much your jam, what is your favorite fantasy book, if you have one? And for me to kind of answer my own second part of that question, I don't know that Game of Thrones is my favorite fantasy book. It's really good. I love anything Tolkien, so probably something Tolkien would take my number one spot. But I also love the Dragonlance Chronicles. There's so many great fantasy books, and I've been a fan for a real long time. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of The Naked Truth. And if you have topics to suggest for a future Naked Truth, please leave those in the comments, or you can respond with a Naked Truth of your very own. Film yourself, no makeup, no hairstyle, no airs put on. If you want to do no clothes, great, but make sure you film from the shoulders up. It's not a sexy kind of show. It's a just being you and being okay with you just the way that you are kind of show. And you can send me that link via the For Business inquiries in the About section of this channel. It's been a while since I gave that disclaimer. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.